What's up, guys? Hey, this video is my first one to produce and hopefully a long series of connecting OU Sooners fans with football, the X's and O's side, right? Who am I? I am Daniel Chamberlain. I have been a co-host of a couple football podcasts for the last almost 4 years, I guess. I've also been a football coach myself. I'm going into my 5th year of coaching football. I've coached on the defensive side and the offensive side. So what I want to do here, the whole point of these videos is going to be to get you involved with the X's and O's and hopefully educate you a little bit about football, kind of what these players and coaches are trying to do, maybe some of the stuff that went right, some of the stuff that went wrong. Look, I'm going to put it in my own terms. I don't know what terms OU uses. Okay, I don't know their exact blocking rules. I don't know everything that these coaches are teaching. So could I be wrong sometimes? Absolutely. I'm going to speak in generalities for just pretty common football things, and just kind of educate you, the public OU Sooner fan who may be going to sit in the stands on Saturday nights. You can catch me there, by the way. We are season ticket holders proudly. Or, maybe you're sitting at home yelling at the TV screen because something's going right or something's going wrong and you don't know why. So I'm just going to break down little clips, maybe a few plays a week, maybe a drive, offense, defense, see what we can do. Anyway, let's get into it. All right, as we get into the first play here. So this is the one that went wrong, right? Like we all watched yet another jet sweep go bad. Guys, jet sweep is a great play. It's a great play when it's paired with any other base play up front. It's a great play when you fake it. It does lots of things for offenses. So I know that a lot of people were upset about the jet sweeps last year, and now you'll see one go bad this year anyway. Jet sweep is great, okay? It has its place. It will continue to be a piece of football as you watch it. So just get used to it. But it obviously, when it's blocked correctly and paired with the right base plays, it can be a little more effective. This is just a busted play, whether it be through scouting, okay, because the coaches watched film all week on Houston and saw how they played certain plays, and we're going to talk about the base play GT counter here in just a moment. And they watched these defensive ends play it a certain way, and they made a game plan. I probably at the high school level would not have had the audacity to call it this way. But I think they're not wrong. The defense just didn't do what they expected them to do, and that's what happens. The other side, they get paid to coordinate too. They get paid to watch film and try to stop what the offense is doing. So, as we get into this first one here, okay, so what we're going to see is a jet sweep going this way, okay. And then we're going to get what we call GT counter coming back this side. Okay, so we'll get the pullers here. These guys are all blocking down. The back guys should what we call a gap hinge. And we'll talk about that more. And then this one should be reaching out. The T should be leading up here. Okay. And now we have everybody taken care of. So let's check out what that play looks like. All right, so if we look here at like what the play is supposed to look like. Okay, so GT counter to the left here. This is what we call a gap scheme play. What that means is the base play up front. Don't worry about the jet sweep yet. The base play up front is a play that goes to the left. And so a lot of the guys are going to be blocking backwards in their gap. Okay, so a gap is backside of a play to where a zone is front side. We're going to cover zone in a minute, so don't get too confused there. But it's the two basic types of run plays. This being gap scheme, your front 3 linemen, so this left tackle, left guard, and left in the center, they should all be blocking back. The pulling guys, so I have the red one as the right guard here. Okay, he's a pull to kick, so he's going to take care of the defensive end. Or the walk down backer in this case. And then the right tackle, who I have in blue, should be what we call pull to wrap. Okay, so he's going to go to that front side linebacker for the inside linebackers. Now, so the Y here will gap hinge or reach hinge as we call it. So he's going to replace the pulling tackle. He's going to help the center with this defensive end, who I have as a T as a defensive tackle because I don't know why. And then he will look back and make sure nothing's coming off the edge. The H here can help set the edge with this walk down backer. The T can lit up on the corner or the safety, whoever shows up. And then now you can see where your jet sweep has all of this field over here to run to, and he's got lead blockers. So that's what it's supposed to look like. But instead, this is what we get. Still a fairly well blocked up play with a couple things that need to go right. The biggest one is the defensive end that ends up making the play. We all know he ends up making the play. We're expecting him to follow this offensive tackle in blue when he pulls. When you get GT counter, many times the defensive ends are going to what we call get in his hip pocket. So he's going to grab on to the hip pocket of the offensive tackle here and follow him, expecting to make a play in the run game as the T takes the ball and runs GT counter to the left. So that's what they saw in game film, I'm assuming. That's what they planned. Once again, I don't have the audacity at the high school level to just not block a guy. They did, and it ended up backfiring. Okay. What we get here is we get a combo on the outside backer that's walked down. One of them can get to the corner. And see that if this does get past that defensive end, we're in a lot better spot. If we can get past that one guy, if he does what he's done on film and follows the tackle, we are out here in the field with now multiple lead blockers, and we're kind of, obviously with one of the fastest dudes in the country toting the rock, a lot of lead blockers into all this space. You expect good things to happen. So when we get back to the film, obviously we know that that defensive end ended up making the play. Okay, so what if we compare this to what we were looking at a while ago? We should get a down block here, a down block here. The center's going to go block down on that defensive end. This guard is what we call pull to kick, so he's going to kick 4. The tackle is going to pull to wrap to this front side backer. The T is going to come block out here. Okay, we would expect a gap hinge taking care of this outside edge. Lead block here. I understand that why they didn't gap hinge it is because we're trying to run right there, right? So we want to go ahead and just set this edge, get all these extra blockers, and that way the jet sweep can come. Unfortunately, this defensive tackle had other plans. He does something different than normal. He does not follow that pulling tackle. He comes upfield, makes the play. All right, as we get into the next play here, this is what we call inside zone or split zone. And I'll show you another card for it in a moment so you can kind of see what's going on. Zone blocking is much more simple in the fact that everyone's kind of going one way. But it also involves a lot of combos, and so guys are supposed to work together, and then assigning those combos can, depending on your verbiage and your rules, be more complicated than it needs to be, leading to missed blocks. So what we're going to get here is what we call split zone. So all of these guys in the front are working inside zone to the right, and then we're going to bring a guy over and block the backside with him. So this is why we call it split zone. We got flow going this way, we got linemen going that way, and then this back is going to find a lane there in the middle. Okay, so you can see that number 10 here is supposed to be our kick out guy. Unfortunately, it does not go to plan, and we're going to take a look at why. All right, so if we look at how the play is drawn up here, this is what we talked about, those zone blocks in the front, right? So there's a method called covered uncovered where we're just identifying who's blocking which guy on the front line. Kind of a cardinal rule in zone blocking is block the front line first. Don't go to the second level being the linebackers, until the front line is taken care of. This is what it should have looked like. You got your right tackle pushing out to this backer because he's in his zone. The right guard getting this defensive end, which I still have marked with a T for defensive tackle, but don't let that throw you off too much. The center would block the nose guard. He would be assisted by the left guard, so they would just, it becomes a double or a combo. Okay, and then whichever one needed to come off and get the backer would, and that's determined by a few things. Generally, we're blocking here with our hands. We say we block here with our eyes. So if this inside backer wants to press to the right, then the center would come off and block him. If he wants to come over to the left, then the guard would come off and block him. That's how combo blocks work. On the far left here, we have our H-back, and our left tackle would be comboing this defensive end, and their combo is looking to get to that inside linebacker. So you can see how we have everybody blocked up. We have bodies for everyone. Okay, we have 5 offensive linemen, an H-back, and then this wide receiver type coming to block. So we have 7. They have 7 in the box. So we should have what we call hat for a hat. So everybody can be blocked by an offensive lineman or a blocker of some type from the offense. The Z would cross over, and then what we call the split zone. So he's going to come back and block this defensive end on the end. You can see the T here, or the tailback, the running back, is in green. This is what we call inside zone, so he has options. Okay, so his primary route is going to be push just to the right of the center. You can see kind of that natural seam happens because he can't run through a combo block. Okay, so he would watch the center get good push, get the nose guard off the ball. He's looking to aim for what we call a front side or a play side A gap. Okay, this is A gap, B, C. Same over here. This is A, B, C, D. That's really all you get is D. And some people will complain that there's not even a D gap, but whatever. So that's his primary. If he reads this block and this nose guard has gotten in that gap, then he just cuts back and comes over here off the backside of the left guard. And then the same thing, if all of this has been filled, all these holes are, have defensive linemen in them or whatever, then he can go all the way back. So we call it bang it, bend it, or bounce it. So he can bang it into the A gap, he can bend it back into this backside A or B gap, or he can bounce it all the way backside and get just inside the Z's kickout block. But instead, you'll see in the video, this is more of what happened. So instead of our right tackle going out and blocking this backer, whether through game plan or brain fart, whatever, these are humans playing football, he combo blocks on this defensive end. Okay. Well, what that does is leaves an unaccounted for backer, and he happens to be on a blitz because he's got this motion. So he walks down and then blitzes off the backside and essentially makes the initial contact and makes the tackle. Also, on the back side of the play, our left guard does not combo with the nose. He kind of works that way and then heads straight to backer. Well, the left tackle does the same thing. So what this means is the center has got a solo block on the nose guard. We really need him to get this off the line of scrimmage. But since he's doing it solo now, it's obviously a little bit more difficult. He's also slanting across his face, so he creates a big confusion over here. The H-back is now having to block a defensive end, which is not what you want. He's having to do it by himself because he doesn't get any help on the combo. Once again, they probably had a call that said, hey, leave him alone, I'm going to get him by myself. At my level as a coach in the high school, we are not going to make that call 99% of the time. So the H-back does not have the oomph to get this guy off the line of scrimmage, and he gets in the way of the Z who's trying to kick. So now we have a unaccounted for, unblocked defensive player on both ends of the line of scrimmage here, and these two guys end up making the play. All right, so we'll watch the film here. So there's our Z coming in motion. We see here, so right off the bat, we get a double here instead of taking care of this guy. So now he has a free release. The center's having to do things by himself. This guard never works to combo, so he goes to backer. This tackle gets one hand on and goes to backer, which leaves number 87 to do this by himself. He cannot, so he gets in the way of this block. All of a sudden, we have got, well, problems. So this backer, and this backer is now on a blitz, are essentially going to be unblocked. And you can see when you don't block a blitzing backer off the end, he's going to make the play. You can see here how number 10 doesn't get to make his block because 87's in his way. 87 can't win his block, so now this defensive end is getting on the play. Okay, so now, because we tried to do too much with too little. Here's our two offensive linemen that are already downhill. Here's number 87 who's getting beat on a block. Number 10 can't get to his block. We accidentally doubled a defensive end over here. So we end up with a blown play. A run for a yard or so. All right, the last play here on before we punt, okay, the miraculous punt, the lucky punt, is going to be a pass play. So off the bat, it just looks like a bad play. Looks like, hey, why didn't Jackson Arnold throw the ball down the field? We obviously needed 15 yards. But you have to understand that the defense is in a prevent, which means they're backed way off. They know it's 3rd and 15 just like we do. They're going to do their best to not let us pass the ball there. And it works in their favor. So the pass that we're going to get, the pass play, is what we call Y cross. So on the very front side over here, okay, we're going to get a vertical. Our number 2 guy is going to run an out. Number 3 guy is going to run the cross. And then over here, the guy that you can't see, the 4th receiver, is going to run what we call a post curl. And we'll see him finish his route in a moment on another frame. The idea here is the vertical and the out are pre-snap reads. Okay, it's what we call quick game. So take 3 steps, throw the ball. If even that. And then the cross is going to be what we call our drop back. So we're going to drop back and read if it comes open. And then the curl, the post curl on the backside, is usually kind of your dump off route if you can get back to it. We also are going to running back. He generally would block, but since they're just rushing these 3, there's no need for him to stay in the box and block. So he's going to run kind of little running back flare. So as you can tell, the pocket stays very clean. Okay, Arnold's able to just step up into the pocket. No real issue there. Problem is, as you can count, there's 3 defensive linemen here, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 4 more players that are deeper than 15. So our vertical route was already covered. Okay, we would call that being capped. The Y cross is obviously not open. There's somebody sitting right on it. Okay, here's that post route I was telling you about. So it started way down here. He's gonna post and curl. And then so the only pass we have left was that out route. Okay. Everything else is covered, so we throw the out route, we get the yardage we can. It's 5 yards, not what you want. All right, I don't want to talk too much about this punt. I just want to cover a little bit at the very end. And we all know what happened, right? They muffed it, supposedly. But I want to talk about how lucky we are as a fan base. Number 19 here does not know the ball was touched. I'm still not so sure that it actually was, but, you know, sometimes that happens. He's waiting for it to roll out, right? When you're the kicking team and the receiving team has not touched the ball, when you touch it, it's down, so you let it roll as long as possible. But what he does here is he steps out of bounds. So now, if he reaches down and touches this, it's called illegal touching. You cannot go out of bounds and come back in and be the first person to touch the ball. So luckily, he doesn't get there before 20 falls on it. Otherwise, we're in a different boat. Luckily, 20 gets on the ball first, and it's a turnover, and it goes to us. So just count your lucky stars. The 19 didn't get there. Last play of the drive here is going to be the scoring play. So this exact running play we just covered. Okay, the second one, the inside zone, what we call split zone. But now you're going to get to watch it ran the other way. So now we're going to all be running this way. And this time we're going to run it correctly. Okay, we're going to motion over. We're going to kick out with this guy, the running back. If he were to get the ball, he doesn't. He'll cover the RPO here in a minute. But he has the chance to, once again, bang it, bend it, or bounce it, depending on where he sees an opening. Okay, so there's the motion. You can see right here we've got this all zoned up. Okay, we've got the kick. The ball's been pulled. All right, so this is what we call an RPO, run pass option. So there's 2 options. What Jackson Arnold's reading here, and I think it's an RPO to both sides. Pre-snap, this is going to be a hitch, probably a fade ball for the outside route. I'm not exactly sure. But this is far enough off, we can run a little hitch here. And if this guy presses, we can throw a hitch. Okay, well last time we obviously got blitzes off both sides. The other RPO is what we call a slant route. So we got a slant here. Okay, and what Jackson Arnold's reading on this side is, his primary key read is motion. If we get cover 1, which means these guys are all defending individual receivers. I can't quite get my yellow mark to work there. Okay, and then he could be here, it could be an inside backer, whoever's covering the tailback. When we go in motion, if he follows because it's man coverage, now we're just going to throw the slant route. If he doesn't follow, so if he sets still, we get motion and he just stands here, the slant is not going to be open, so now he's probably going to be able to go and read that side. Lucky for us, we get motion. Okay, you can see here that as 10 moves, 2 moves, so that opens up the slant window. So Arnold's going to read this. He's going to fake the handoff. He's going to pull the ball and then hit the slant. Of course, in our favor, goes for a touchdown. Welcome to the RPO. But you can see if he hands the ball off, the bang was probably closed, so he gets like this bend or bounce, right? So if he had the ball in his hand, there is still a running seam here, and we've got everybody else blocked up. Now, is this guy running free? Maybe. He obviously sees the ball is in Jackson Arnold's hand right now, okay? But you can see how the inside zone works by giving the running back multiple options to run to. Alright guys, I hope you learned a little bit today. We went over a gap scheme play, a zone scheme play, an RPO, a pass play. So in that one series, and some luck, right? Some absolute luck on the muffed punt return. So I hope you become a little bit educated today about what the team is actually putting on the field. We'll continue breaking down plays like this. I absolutely love OU football. Being a football coach myself, I'm really intrigued with the X's and O's. And kind of this is what I do for a living, is help educate other coaches and consult with other coaches and other teams. Hopefully you'll join us on the next video. We'll take some of the plays from the game against Tulane and break them down. Maybe we'll go defense next and just kind of see what the defense is up to and help you guys stay educated.